Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, 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 geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to another all-new edition of Geek to Me Radio. A completely wall-to-wall packed show today. We're going to start it out by interviewing Anya Chalotra and Freya Allan from the upcoming The Witcher series on Netflix. We've got Brian O'Halloran, Danielle DeNicola, and Bob McLeod all coming your way as well with our GalaxyCon Louisville wrap-up. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And for those of you who are listening, maybe this is your first time, maybe you're a long-time listener, we appreciate you very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to us so you don't miss a show. We'd love to have you follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well, at Geek to Me Radio on those platforms, and Facebook.com/Geek to Me Radio. Give the Facebook page a like too. We always appreciate your support on all those social media platforms. We have, as I said, a completely filled up show with interview after interview. We're going to go ahead and kick it off right now. We're joined now by Anya Chalotra and Freya Allan talking about the new upcoming series, The Witcher, on Netflix. Ladies, how are you today?
Pretty good, thanks.
Good, good. This has got to be so exciting because this is such a highly anticipated show that's coming up. I know it's a lot of people, it's got the same buzz Stranger Things did when it came back this summer. What kind of pressure is there? You've got this enormous amount of scrutiny on this show that people are building up. They're going to say it's bigger than Game of Thrones. That's got to be exciting to be part of it, but a little bit daunting, I would guess. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're both flattered that it's being compared to Game of Thrones. I mean, the success that has had, and I mean, I haven't watched it, but we're only hoping that people feel so as sort of invested in the characters and the story and the world as they have with Game of Thrones. That would be amazing. Yeah, there's so much positivity out there about The Witcher. So if you focus on that, it's very exciting.
And what was your introduction? I know it's closely following the books, not so much the video games, but for me, I was introduced to it by the video games. So did you two play the games to do research, or did you read a couple of the books? How much research did you do to get into your parts?
I didn't do very much research because I felt very quickly from the audition process even that there was a very natural parallel between Ciri and I, and so I didn't want to overthink things or overcomplicate things when it was something that felt very natural to me. But I did read The Blood of Elves, which was really nice to have that kind of essence of who Ciri was from the source material. But then after that, I was mainly relying on scripts. So yeah.
Yeah, I had no knowledge that The Witcher existed before auditioning. And obviously when I got the part, I wanted to immerse myself in the material, the source material. So I, whilst filming, read the two short stories. And that was, I stopped reading there actually because it got quite complicated. In this series we focus on Yennefer's backstory, and that's something that we create and develop from the small hints that Andrew gives us in the novels. So I after the short stories wanted to focus on the script, and I read that again and again and again, and every time I read it I would something new would come up, I would ask more questions about my character, and besides that I was just having conversations with Lauren and the directors and the cast members scene to scene about, you know, how we're going to best bring the truth, the most raw form of truth to each scene. So yeah, that was how I approached it all.
And Anya, you've done a lot of theater, Hero and Much Ado About Nothing amongst the roles of my very favorite Shakespeare play, by the way. And doing it in front of the live audience, you know, you get that immediate response. It's right there in front of you. Obviously, you've done other projects besides theater, but it's very different. And something like Witcher, where it is so engaging and so captivating, but you have to have that wait to see how it is for the payoff for the audience. Is it, do you like it better to have that immediate crowd response, or do you kind of enjoy the sitting back and watching the audience pay off as they view a thing like a Netflix streaming like this?
I grew up watching a lot of film, and it's something that I absolutely love. I'm so interested in storytelling and cinematography and like the way a film is shot and how a story is told, the editing process. I love all that. I think film's incredible, and you know, there's some truthful moments that you can't necessarily create in theatre. But as an actor, there's nothing like the thrill of an audience. Right. And it's something that I will always go back to. Well, that's how I feel right now, at least. It's I think what's happening in theatre, the new writing that's coming up, I am very passionate about, and I want to keep doing for sure.
And Freya, director Mark Jopes called you luminous, young, fierce, charismatic, with a presence and strength of an old soul as you're playing Ciri. When you're going into it and you've got that kind of, the bar is set very high now, people are seeing this, that's got to be like no pressure, right? People are expecting this amazing thing. Does that put a lot of pressure, or is it kind of like you feel more settled knowing that the people around you have that kind of faith in you?
Yeah, no, I think it's just really nice to know that the directors you're working with were pleased with your performance and enjoyed working with you, and I think it only kind of makes you feel stronger. But you know, it's probably not something I look into too much. But it is, you know, it's lovely to hear things like that. It's really, really nice, especially when you've worked with someone for a while.
And when you're doing a series like this, obviously we've seen the previews. It's gorgeous. It's a lot of layers to the cinematography and the detail taken with the settings and the surroundings and the props. What was the hardest part about filming this for you? And we'll start with Anya.
It was the biggest challenge I've ever had in that film. I was playing a 14-year-old to someone in her late 70s, who doesn't have that physical, who have a physical transformation, obviously, but doesn't have that physical transformation through like that aging process. So for me, it was about changing her breath, and you know, she has so much life experience, and playing such a huge arc within such a short space of time, not in consecutive order. That was great. That was my greatest challenge. Yeah.
And Freya?
I think for me, my biggest challenge was trying to kind of portray or feel the huge amount of loss that Ciri is feeling, because obviously I haven't experienced that. I mean, she loses everybody she's loved within one night. And so trying to place myself in that position was very difficult. And, there was certainly plenty of scenes where I really had to kind of shut myself off and really get into a certain headspace to be able to do those scenes. So that was definitely a really big challenge, especially at the beginning, when you're sort of discovering the character at the start of filming. That was kind of, it was a challenge and daunting, but actually a great thing to have, because it meant that the rest of the filming, I built such a kind of closeness with the character that it made it so much easier for later on.
And we'll the same order. We'll start with Anya. What was the very best part of your experience filming this, working on this project of The Witcher? Start with Anya.
Best part? Oh gosh, the whole of it really. The people I met, the relationships I made, how much I learned. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a broad answer, but that's the whole thing, really. Nothing specifically, everything specifically made up my whole, made my whole experience, all those specific moments.
I think for me it was the people I met, the actors I got to work with, the directors I got to work with, the camaraderie on set, with the crew. You build relationships with the crew as well, and that's so nice to have. And that was actually really important for me, because a lot of my filming I was actually doing on my own, and so to kind of feel like you're a team with the crew was really, really nice. And so I think those two things were probably the best part of the whole experience for the people involved.
And just to have a little fun, this magical world that we find ourselves in of The Witcher, if you could have any one magical power, be it lightning from your fingers, invisibility, flight, what would you pick? We'll start with Freya.
I always say healing. Healing.
Like a mage, like healing people with wounds and everything. Okay.
Yeah, mind knowing. Mine's all knowing, I think, is the best power you can have.
All knowing. Perfect. If you were omniscient, then you wouldn't need any other power. You'd already know what was going to happen and know how to counter it.
Exactly.
And we do want to mention...
It'd be fun powers like invisibility and stuff like that as well. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Invisibility and flight.
Serious.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And we're talking about The Witcher. Hits Netflix on December 20th at Witcher Netflix on Twitter and Instagram. Use the hashtag The Witcher. Where can people find the two of you online? Twitter, Instagram, websites, if people want to find out more about the two of you.
Instagram.
Instagram. It's like stereo, both on Instagram. Just your names? Is that the best way to find you? Just at your names?
Yeah, that's just our name. Yeah. Anya Chalotra, Freya Allan.
And will the two of you be watching on December 20th when it drops?
Hell no. No. Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see.
Do you not like to watch your work after the fact, or is it kind of like just one of those things?
I think I definitely will watch it. I don't know whether I'll watch it straight away. I'm going to have to say. I'll be there for all the screenings. But yeah, I'll watch it. I will definitely watch it. I'll probably sit down with my family or something. Well,
there'll be plenty of people watching, to be sure. This is such an anticipated series that's going to hit on Netflix. And I'm very happy that I'm able to talk to the two of you. Anya Chalotra, Freya Allan, thanks so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to speak with you both.
Thanks very much. So much.
My thanks once again to Netflix for arranging that interview. And thank you to Anya Chalotra and Freya Allan for joining me to talk all about The Witcher. We're going to take our first break. Come right back talking with actor, comedian Brian O'Halloran right after this, so stand by. Hi, this is James Enstall, host of Geek to Me Radio, and in honor of my favorite Themyscirian, I've decided to become an Amazon warrior.
Hera, give me strength.
The next time you want to buy something from Amazon, go to geektomeradio.com first and click on our Amazon affiliate link. Simply shop like you normally would, and when you check out, a small percentage will go towards supporting the show. So remember, the next time you want to search Amazon for the latest Wonder Woman graphic novel or parts for your invisible jet, click through from geektomeradio.com first.
The world was in peril. Would you have me stand by and do nothing?
Kill that noise. Hey, this is Jay Muse, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio. Snooch to the nooch!
Welcome back to the show. We've got a GalaxyCon Louisville wrap-up coming for the rest of the show. We were able to attend that. My executive producer, Joey V, went with me. His first time out. I'm not sure if my driving scared him more than the all the people at the convention or what happened. But very glad to have Joey V along on this one. Was a huge help, and as he always is on all of these projects. But we got to talk to Brian O'Halloran, obviously from the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot. You know him from Clerks, his many other acting roles, and of course his comedic career as well. We were able to talk to him. We're here with Brian O'Halloran, star of the brand new movie Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. How are you?
Well, I wouldn't say star of it. I mean, I think the Clerks 3 would be the star part of it. You know what? It's really great to be here at the GalaxyCon here in Louisville. I was here last year, and City Louisville is always a fun time to hang out. And glad that Kevin and Jay are having a great time touring the new Jay and Silent Bob Reboot on the road. They were just in Nashville just not too long ago this week. So getting fans from Nashville coming into this show saying how much they loved it. So we're glad that the fans are enjoying it. The biggest complaint we've seen on the internet is that too many jokes, people are laughing. I can't hear the other jokes because of the laughter. So they're waiting for the DVD release, which I think they're saying is now February. So. Okay,
so buy it on Blu-ray for Valentine's Day.
There you go. Happy Valentine's Day. Two stoners. Here we go.
And you do a lot of stand-up comedy. And you talked about your theater background before. That's something that never leaves an actor, surely, with that intimacy with a live audience. Talk a little bit about your comedy and doing live theater.
You know, every once in a while I get a chance to do some stand-up comedy in the New York area or some of the casinos up in the Northeast, and it's a lot of fun. And I am at my highest peak of performance when I'm with a live audience, I find myself. I mean, a lot of it came out of just doing Q&As here at these Comic-Cons. It turned into like 45 to a half an hour, minute, like stand-up routines of me going on with these kind of stories of our filmmaking exploits or something going on with the characters or the scripts like that. So out of that and my own history of just life and my family, been able to develop a pretty solid kind of routine. So as you know, the theater actors love a live audience because you're getting that immediate gratitude of applause, or if it's a comedy, it's laughter, or if it's some sort of drama, the gasps or what have you.
And having been part of the franchise for the View Askew world for so long, I'm sure, just like Marilyn must get tired of hearing 37, everyone, I'm not even supposed to be here today, but it's got to be, in a way, still gratifying when people recognize you for the work like that.
Oh, absolutely. You know, out of all the catchphrases that come out of the Kevin Smith View Askew films, I mean, I think I have one of the easiest. I mean, are you even supposed to be here today? Or as I say as the character, I'm not even supposed to be here today. I'm sure that'll be on my tombstone when I'm buried. Here lies Brian O'Halloran. He's not even supposed to be here today. So it's something I get away easily. Like Marilyn Gigliotti, there's some things that get screamed at her in parking lots that are not so pleasant when you're not a fan and don't know the reference. So, I get away easy with it.
Yeah. And the best part about being the conventions, you get to meet all these people. You've got people come up to take photographs and get autographs. What are you most surprised by that you get from people who come to the conventions? Is there anything that someone's asked you to sign that you're surprised by, or something that someone has a connection with you that you're surprised by?
You know what? Sometimes I'll get people who want me to autograph their arm or their leg or stuff like that, and then literally they go to a tattoo parlor and tattoo the names on people. So I have about 6 or 7 people walking the planet that have my name tattooed on them. So that's sometimes I go, really? Okay. One of them is a famous girl in L.A. who has like tons of people. That's all she has is tattoos of autographs on her body. So I'm on her. I'm kind of weirdly honored to be on her body, like along with like Schwarzenegger and all these kind of big kind of superstars. And so those are the items that are odd. And some people come in usually with some marital aids that they want signed, which I'm always weirded out by. But whatever. Okay. I'm not going to judge.
Right.
So things like that, I don't mind. Like someone had me sign an Avengers comic, and they were just like, I just like having people's autographs on completely odd things that you have nothing to do with. So some people have their own shtick. Some guy gets nothing but baseballs autographed.
Okay.
Because I guess it's easier to display them in his case, because they make all those baseball holders and stuff. So there's guys like that. And now they have the new, the Funko Pop people. So every other character has one. By the way, they don't have a Dante and Randall one, which I'm highly insulted.
How is that?
I don't know. If you get the Doctor Strange one, or sometimes the Tony Starks look kind of like me.
Swap out, yeah.
So you could swap it out. So I've had actually fans get customs made. There are companies that do some custom work. And I've had them come in as the black and white Dante from the original Clerks, and then the movies uniformed Clerks from Dante 2, Clerks 2 Dante. And so that's always cool and cute. So those get signed a lot by a lot of people.
And last question, I know you've got a birthday coming up in just under a month. Any big plans for your birthday?
I know, it's the big 50, the big 50. As of right now, I don't, which my friends keep getting on my ass about, but I've literally been on the road almost every weekend the past couple of months. Like this month specifically, November, I was on the road every single weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is my last show of the year.
Okay.
I only have like 2 more like physical appearances. One is a guest bartender for Ross Brewing in Manhattan on December 4th. I'll be posting that on my social media soon. And then I'll be appearing at Haven for Heroes comic book shop for a comic book release party of a comic book called Odd Tales from the Curiosity Shop, which is my likeness as the owner of the Curiosity Shop.
And let everyone know where they can find you if they want to keep up with you on the Twitter spheres, Instagrams, websites.
Sure. So for Twitter and Instagram, it's Brian C, as in Christopher, Brian C. O'Halloran. And then on Facebook, my Facebook fan page is the Brian C. O'Halloran.
Perfect. Brian O'Halloran, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time today.
Not at all. Thanks for having me.
My thanks again to Brian O'Halloran for the interview. We're going to take our next break, come back, continue our GalaxyCon Louisville wrap-up with cosplayer extraordinaire Danielle DeNicola. Stand by.
Hi, I'm Bex Taylor-Klaus from Voltron. I play Pidge, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
And we're back. This segment brought to you by Marcus Theaters. MarcusTheaters.com is the website for all your movie-going needs. You had better already have your tickets for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and you better have gotten them at a Marcus Theaters. Marcus Theaters is the best place to see a movie. If you're going to see a big one, especially a huge blockbuster Christmas time opening like Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I can't believe we're wrapping up the Skywalker stories. Episode 9. This is crazy. Hopefully you're seeing this in a Marcus Theaters. Hopefully you see all your movies at a Marcus Theaters. The website, again, MarcusTheaters.com. You can buy your tickets, find the location closest to you, check out which of the restaurants and bars and libations and concessions they have there in-house at the particular one you're going to. So you don't have to stand there in line looking at the menu, figuring out what you want to get while the people behind you are getting angry. You can plan the entire night right from the website, MarcusTheaters.com. Get your tickets, pre-game a little bit with knowing what you're going to get before you go in, and then enjoy your movie in the most comfortable surroundings with the best sound and the clearest picture. Go see it in IMAX, see it in 3D, whatever you do, see it at a Marcus Theaters, MarcusTheaters.com. We are continuing our GalaxyCon Louisville wrap-up, going back and getting some of the interviews that we had while we were on site there. This particular cosplayer has been on the air with us once before, and she was going to be at GalaxyCon Louisville, so it was a perfect time to chat with her once again. Danielle DeNicola back on the air with us. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you.
I did pronounce it correctly that time?
You did.
I feel like after I said it, it's like, that doesn't sound right. But
no,
it
was
okay.
Perfect.
Good, good. So for those of you, because this is radio, for those of you who can't hear, who are you wearing today?
I am wearing a Tornado from One Punch Man.
And when you do a con, you've obviously got to plan your outfits and events so you know what you're bringing with you, what props you're going to have. So how much planning goes into? Is it by location? Is it by ones you've never done at a certain convention before? How does that...
Honestly, it depends on who the guests are. Mostly, I usually take a look at the guest list because I really want to keep the con brand going, right? So there's a lot of My Hero character voice actors. Then I'll usually bring my hero characters. This one in particular, I started watching One Punch Man. I got really excited, so it trumped all of that.
And with doing celebrities, has there ever been a celebrity you knew was going to be at a con? You're like, I've got to come up with something for that celebrity. Has there been a con like that?
Oh, yeah. So Chris Sabat is one of my, favorite people in the whole world. And I was really, really excited to meet him. It was one of my first times ever guesting at a con. And I made an Android 18, and I've revamped my Android 18, remade it to be better because I knew I was going to go meet him, and so I wanted to be Dragon Ball Z.
So do you fangirl out some of the cons, like you're going to go get a photo op with that person, and is that obviously as a fan of the genre between the cosplay and the gaming and everything you do? So who is the person you've been most excited to meet?
It was actually not even a nerdy type person exactly. It was an artist, a musician actually in Vancouver. Her name was Lights. Okay. She was very vocal about World of Warcraft, and so she was one of the convention guests up there in Fan Expo Vancouver, and I was also a guest. And I asked them if I could leave my booth to get in her line because I was so excited. I'd been listening to her for 10 years, and I had her comic book. She does comics.
Okay.
So she had like a visual comic book for her last album, and I was like, I need to get this signed by Lights. So I was so excited.
And with the cosplay game, you obviously do a great job all the time. You're always on Instagram and Twitter and everything like that. What? How far in advance do you start planning? Like, do you just tweak the stuff you have? Do you always want to be doing new stuff? What's kind of the mix of what you do?
I like to do everything. I go in comic books. I just recently started watching anime a few years ago. So like right now, anime is really exciting for me. I always did video game stuff. That was like my like nerddom, if you will. Like growing up, I like always played video games. So for the first like years of my cosplay career was all video games, and then I was like, maybe I should do other stuff. So I started to like branch out and do like more anime characters. Right now, I'm on my anime phase.
Okay, and you've got a huge array of different looks and pictures here. We talked yesterday, I guess it was maybe Friday, about the Wendy's one that you did with all the fries. What's the furthest you've ever gone to get the perfect picture that you wanted to do? Was it buying a truckload of fries at Wendy's? What else have you done?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I did, in fact, I was dressed up as Wendy when we had the idea. So we went through the drive-thru at Wendy's, and we ordered a bunch of French fries. And I was expecting the drive-thru workers to like react in some way, and they didn't. It was hilarious. I was like, I am Wendy at Wendy's right now. They did not care at all. It was wild.
Here's your fries. That'll be $10.50 or whatever it was for all your fries.
Right. I think the craziest thing I've ever done for a cosplay photo shoot, though, we were at Fan Expo Calgary. There was a few of us in like original character Viking cosplays that we did, and we rented a car and we drove up to the Banff mountain range. And we got out. It was freezing, and we got in the water to shoot our like Viking characters that we did. We were throwing blood, like fake blood around, fake dirt around. Like we had these giant axes that we had made, like hitting the water into each other. It was horrible, but at the same time, it was so fun, and it was so worth it. But it was cold.
So then, follow-up question: how many outfits have you ruined doing photo shoots?
Oh man. A few, actually. I like to do the battle damaged look a lot, so I usually like to like tear things up and rip them up for photo shoots, and then if I need them later, I'll just remake them. Perfect.
And I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Tell people where they can find you if they want to out there on all the social medias, websites, everything.
Right. They're mostly Danielle DeNicola. It's Danielle DANIELLE, and then DeNicola is DENI, and then Cola, like Coca-Cola. That's Facebook, Instagram. Twitter, unfortunately, has one character too small for my entire name, so there's no E in DeNicola. But other than that.
And any more cons this year?
The last one for this year is Holiday Matsuri. It's like a local fun con for me in Orlando, Florida.
Very cool. Well, continued success. I look forward to seeing you as we keep up on social media.
Yeah, thanks you so much.
We're going to take our next break. Come back talking with artist extraordinaire Bob McLeod right after this, so stand by.
Hi, this is George Newbern, the voice of Superman. You are listening to Geek to Me Radio.
And we're back once again. This segment and really the show, the entire show, brought to you by the City of St. Charles, the Convention and Visitors Bureau of St. Charles. You can go to the website, discoverstcharles.com. Christmas traditions, we had a blast this weekend. The snowfall made it the most picturesque setting you can imagine, and we had such a good time. Everyone who visited had smiles on their faces. There's not a bad time to visit St. Charles, as I always say, but when the snow is falling and the shops are lit up with the lights for Christmas and the characters are walking around, it just is truly perfect. It's a winter wonderland in every sense of the word. And I know the people who were out there had a great deal of fun, as did we who were engaging with them. The Convention and Visitors Bureau puts all this on, as well as the other festivals like Legends and Lanterns, and of course the Sesquicentennial, which just happened for their 250th anniversary celebration of the city's founding. It's a great time to visit St. Charles any time you go. Check out the unique shopping and dining experiences. If you're from out of town, come and stay. Come and stay in a bed and breakfast. Come and stay in a world-class hotel with world-class accommodations. Come gamble at the casino. We've got a couple of casinos right there. It is a fantastic trip. And as we always say, it is an historically good time. If you're a history buff, if you're a foodie, if you like shopping and dining experiences you won't find anywhere else. Come visit St. Charles. Plan your trip now. DiscoverStCharles.com is that website. My next guest is no stranger to anybody in the comic book world. He's been an artist and an inker for quite a while. He is one of the co-creators of the New Mutants. We now are joined by Bob McLeod. Talking with renowned artist Bob McLeod. How are you, sir?
Very good. Thanks.
No problem. I've seen you at several cons. How many cons do you do on average per year?
Well, it varies. I don't really go out looking to be asked to cons. I generally just get invited to cons, so I hate turning them down if they're going to pay my airfare and put me up in a nice hotel, so I generally go where I'm invited. And in the last couple of years, it's kind of doubled. So I used to do maybe one a month at the most, and last couple of years I've done over 20.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
I think part of that is with the nostalgia, everyone's always excited to see the veteran creators who worked on some of their favorites now that they're old enough to have the money to go and spend on prints and autographs and things like that. So I'm sure that factors in a little bit, but would you attribute anything else to it?
Yeah, I think the number of conventions has grown in the last few years. I think there's just more and more. They're everywhere, it seems like every weekend, except maybe a couple months in the winter. So there's all these shows, and they need guests at them. I don't get invited to the same ones necessarily every year. There's a handful that I go to every year, but most of them are places I've never been before. So I think it's just a proliferation of conventions.
That's got to be nice that you're seeing different places all the time. You're not always going back to the same locations.
Unfortunately, so often I'm just in and out very quickly, and I just see the hotel and the convention. I don't really get to see the place that I'm at, but sometimes my wife will come along and we'll turn it into a little mini vacation and see the area.
And I've seen people obviously bring you many things to sign. What is the thing you're most surprised by? Is there anything at this particular convention or in the past couple of conventions that you're like kind of surprised that someone like, I haven't seen this forever, or nobody ever asked me to sign this?
I'm trying to think. Somebody brought me up, and within 5 minutes, 3 different people brought me up the same comic that I haven't signed in I don't know how long. And I said, what's going on here? What's this? And they just said, I don't know. I like this comic. So I don't know if that was just coincidence or what. I can't think offhand what the comic was, but it was something a little obscure.
Okay.
I mean, people bring up stuff. I've been doing this for 40 years, so it could be anything during those 40 years. I jumped around to a lot of different titles. I did a lot of covers at one point. So there's a lot of various titles out there, and there's fans for each one of those titles, so I get a lot of different requests.
And I know you're most famous for New Mutants. I don't believe everything I read online, but there was a thing that was kind of a frustrating process for you because you were doing it in the middle of your honeymoon, whether or not there's truth to the online rumors, but was it a frustrating thing? Do you look back at it now and kind of laugh?
No, well, it was frustrating at the time because what it was I was offered the New Mutants. It was going to be a regular comic series, and I was going to have all the time in the world to do my very best work on it. It was my first regular penciling assignment. I had done fill-ins, but this was a monthly comic, and so I was very excited about it. And then at the same time, they were looking for projects to turn into graphic novels, and they needed a project to fit into slot number 4, graphic novel number 4. And so, hey, let's turn it into a graphic novel. It'll be a good way to introduce it. The problem was their schedule had been set, and suddenly we were behind schedule instead of a flexible deadline. So I had to not only kind of adjust. I had drawn a couple pages maybe. I forget how many pages I was into it. And Chris changed the plot slightly, so I had to make adjustments on what I had already drawn. Plus, there were more pages in the graphic novel than in a regular comic. So I was just rushing through it. And then they said, well, in order to meet the deadline, we're going to have to let somebody else ink it. I said, oh, no. It's a graphic novel. It's the first appearance of the group. You got to let me ink it. They said, well, the deadline's the deadline. So, I happened to be getting married at the same time and worked through my honeymoon on the inking.
But your wife was okay with it? She understood?
Luckily, we had planned, a friend of ours was giving us her beach house for a month. So we were on the beach in Florida for a month. So it wasn't like we had a couple nights where I had to rush through it. I had plenty of time to have a honeymoon and periods to work as well. So it was okay.
And talking New Mutants, I guess the movie. As a fan, we've been so looking forward to this. The horror element aspect they were going to take with it sounded very exciting. I know Chris said he was excited about it, but then to have it shelved and have new production stuff, that's got to be, as the creator of these people, it's almost like these people are messing with your children in a way. It's got to be a little frustrating for you as the creator. It's so frustrating. I was excited as well. I thought trying something new, like a horror slant to it, was a good idea instead of just the same old thing they've been doing with the superheroes. So I was excited. I loved the casting that they did. Maisie Williams, I was a big fan of her from Game of Thrones, and I thought she fit perfectly as Rain Sinclair. So I was very excited, and then they bumped it back, and then they bumped it back again. All these rumors started flying. Were they just going to shelve it? Was it going to go straight to Hulu? Were they doing reshoots or adding a character or what? So I just felt like incredibly bad timing, basically, where Fox was being bought by Disney. It was the timing more than anything else. I didn't think it had anything to do with the quality of the movie. And latest test screenings got good results. So I'm optimistic still, and last I heard, it is supposed to come out this April at long last. Good. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, with most things. Yeah. And you've worked on so many other iconic characters throughout your career. I mean, you've done runs on Superman that are still like huge storylines. When you look back at your body of work, is there anything you're most pleased with, most proud of, or something that you would hold up as this is kind of like, if I die tomorrow and I'm remembered for this, I'm happy? Well, I'm tempted to say the New Mutants because that's what I'm best known for, and I am proud of the New Mutants. I was so rushed on my work on the New Mutants. This is why I left the book early. Yeah. I only stayed on for a few issues. I was just too rushed. It was my first regular assignment. I needed time to think about my layouts and my poses and everything, and I just didn't have time. So I wasn't happy with the look of the artwork. So a lot of it I was proud of. A lot of it I just wish I could go back and do it over again. Superman was the main comic I read as a kid. I was not a huge comic book fan as a kid, especially not a superhero fan. I was more into humor, Mad Magazine. But I read Superman, the whole family of Superman characters. I read Archie comics. I read all the little Wendy the Good Little Witch, Richie Rich, all that kind of stuff, Casper the Ghost. Because I liked the humor. But, because I read Superman when I was a kid and then got to work on it as a part of my career, that was a special time. And I think I did some of my best work on Superman. So I was so fortunate to be able to actually draw the issue where Clark finally reveals to Lois that he's Superman. Yeah, that was a big one, So I'd have to probably say that. Yeah. And when people bring you, like a gentleman just dropped off a blank cover for sketches, is there anyone who you haven't done in your normal career that people ask you to, hey, could you do this person? Is there anyone that you want to draw that you haven't drawn? And we're going to come back, get Bob's answer to that question right after this. Stand by.
Hi, this is Lauren Lester, the voice of Nightwing, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Our final segment, we've been talking with artist, inker Bob McLeod, co-creator of the New Mutants, and with all the characters he's done over his career, he's done a lot of characters. He's just a fantastic artist. So we decided to ask him, is there anyone you haven't drawn as much as you would like, or someone you'd like to get around to drawing more? They rarely ask for something that I haven't done. They want to get what you are known for, usually. The only major character that I feel I didn't get a chance to do much with was Batman. Mm-hmm. I drew him as a guest star in one of the Superman issues and inked him over Graham Nolan for a couple years in Detective. But I never really penciled much Batman. So I think I could have done a good job on Batman. But because I left the New Mutants early, I was able to do a lot of other titles that I probably wouldn't have done if I'd stayed on that series. So I got to draw Star Wars, worked on the Hulk with Dale Keown. Conan the Barbarian over John Buscema. He was my favorite penciler to ink.
So I did a lot of inking, penciling. Basically just did some fill-ins, a couple mini-series, and Superman stuff. My inking career just kind of took off, and I was more in demand as an inker than a penciler. But I enjoyed inking, so it was never a big issue for me.
Yeah, inkers never get enough credit. We talk to people like Rick Burchett, who's been on the show, and just it's one of those things where you always do the artist and the writer. People are always excited, and the inkers, more people should be excited about, because that's kind of like fleshes out the whole. I mean, it's a huge process. The
reason I quit every title that I penciled was because I didn't like the inking. And it's not like I had bad inkers. I had my favorite inker, Tom Palmer, inked me on Star Wars. Joe Rubenstein inked me on X-Men. Brett Breeding was inking me on Superman, and Denny Rodier on Superman. It wasn't because I had done so much inking. I had I wanted the work to look a certain way, because I was very concerned with the finish look of the art. I wanted it to look the way I wanted it to look, and I never found an inker that would ink it close enough to the way I would ink it to make me happy. The inking, a lot of pencilers just aren't that concerned with the finished look. They want to do the storytelling. I was never that concerned with the storytelling. I wanted it to look a certain way. So I always ended up quitting the penciling jobs because I wanted to ink it myself. And I just wasn't fast enough to pencil and ink a regular book too often. So luckily on Superman, I got to ink, pencil and ink 3 issues in a row.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, but then that was all I could do.
And you've got a children's book out for, I think it's HarperCollins.
HarperCollins, I did a superhero ABC alphabet book, which I'm very proud of and had a lot of fun doing. It was my wife's idea, actually.
Oh, nice.
I was going to do something non-superhero, because I'd been doing superheroes for all these years, and I wanted to just do an average children's book. And I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. And so she said, just do a superhero alphabet book. Great idea. Okay.
See, the women always have the best ideas. That's why I got married. What happened to me. It's great.
Well, my wife's a middle school librarian.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of librarians collect alphabet books. They're always in demand in libraries and schools. And so it's been great. It's still in print after 13, 14 years. So it's been great.
And if people want to keep up with you online, website, social media, where can people find you at?
I have a website, bobmcleod.com, and I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, but I almost never look at them. It's hard enough just keeping up with Facebook.
Yeah.
But I'm around. I'm easy to find.
Perfect. And we'll hopefully see you at another show. Is this the last one for the year?
No, actually, I'm going to Greece next week.
Oh,
to
Nice.
Athens. Yeah, my wife is going to go with me, and we're going to kind of make a vacation out of it. But we have to leave midnight on Thanksgiving.
Okay, well, it's Greece, though, so it's worth it.
That's right. Yeah.
Bob McLeod, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for your time today.
All right, thanks.
That's going to do it. My thanks once again to the people at Netflix for arranging the interview with Anya Chalotra and Freya Allan. Make sure you tune in to The Witcher. Catch that as it drops on Netflix on the 20th. My thanks again to GalaxyCon Louisville for allowing myself and my executive producer, Joey V, to come in. And it was a great time at GalaxyCon Louisville. I highly recommend that con, as well as GalaxyCon Richmond coming up. My thanks to Brian O'Halloran, Danielle DeNicola, and Bob McLeod for the interview. We are going to keep on bringing you more fantastic shows, so make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram. And, of course, Facebook.com/GeekToMeRadio. It's at Geek to Me Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Just go to GeekToMeRadio.com. Click the YouTube link to subscribe there. Until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you watch a zombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young Arts. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, New Jersey. Good night.